Good day, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Rams here, and as always, I'm glad to be back on the airwaves. As always, I always like to thank the Almighty God first, because without Him, nothing's possible. But I also like to thank you for your support and comments. I'm deeply humbled and honored by your interest and in this podcast. I am. I'm deeply humbled, and I thank you all for supporting me, listening, and I want you to know that after you listen to this, pass this word on to others in your family, friends. Pass this knowledge on. I'm not here to keep the knowledge. I'm here to pass the knowledge on so we can have a place to live for all peoples of all races in the 21st century, because nobody's going to kill nobody and eradicate anyone. So you got to learn to get along and get along. Okay? That's what's important. You got to go along and get along. So, my brothers and sisters. So, I want to say again, thank you so much for your support. And again, it's important info that I pass on to my brothers and sisters, black, white, and everybody in between. I want you all to pass this knowledge on. Say, they got a brother on YouTube called Brother Rams. Check out his podcast. And I thank you for it. But right now, we're going to get right into the business at hand here. And I think I'm going to title this podcast to be uh, uh, The Trump Chaos Continues, Part 2. I think that is Trump Chaos Continues, Part 2. But I want to say something. It involves Black history. And you know me, I got to say something about Black history. But I'm going to say this because a brilliant sister that I know, and she used to be on my some of my voice audio podcasts. And this is a sister down south. Her name was Dr. T. Her name is Dr. T. And she knows I do a lot of stuff about Black history and stuff. So she gave me a little tidbit that shocked me and woke me up. And as an educator, I'm always looking to learn more and more and more, because you can't be an educator and don't be a student. See, the two go hand in hand. Student, teacher, teacher, student. You got to do both. Okay? So I was going, she spoke to me, Dr. T, and a very, very interesting point. And that's why I'm bringing it up today, because a lot of people have made a mistake about this particular song. All right? And they talk about the song that most black and white people sort of think was written by a black person. Okay? They think was written by a black person. But it wasn't written by a black person. It was actually, and this song is called Amazing Grace. Brother Rams, I thought that was a black person singing that. Well, black people sing it, but they're not the ones who actually made it, who wrote it. It was a Caucasian gentleman. All right? It was actually written by one of our white brothers. But the point I'm going to make is that it shows you what I preach about this podcast. Everything must change and time moves forward. Hear me out, right? And again, like I said, it was from one of our Caucasian brothers. And his name was John Newton. He's the one who wrote Amazing Grace. Oh, yeah. He wrote Amazing Grace. And what you have in John Newton is an incredible spiritual transformation. He transformed spiritually. And he used to be a slave ship captain. So he didn't give a damn about black folks. And to a leading British abolitionist. Whoa, that's like two extremes, Brother Ram. From a slave ship captain to a British abolitionist? Oh, yeah, brother. He changed. Guess who changed him? You know. He's here. He's here. He's always here. My brother John Newton, he was born in Whipping, London. He was the son of a ship's captain, and he was born in 1725. He died in 1807. John Newton. In his early life and his sea career, he went to sea at a young age. He was pressed into the Royal Navy and was severely whipped for desertion. He lived in West Africa and he was promoted to captain uh, Atlantic slave ships. He was promoted to captain Atlantic slave ships. So he was the captain of a slave ship, John Newton. What prompted his spiritual transformation? Well, the spiritual transformation came because his ship survived a terrifying storm right off the coast of Ireland in 1748. He was carrying a shipload of slaves, 200-300 at a time. You know the old Public Enemy. Count them 1, 2, 3, 400 at a time. Rolling in your own leftover. When you rolled over on somebody else. He was the captain of one of them ships, stuffed in there like sardines, 2, 3, 400 at a time. He was the captain of a slave ship, but he ran into a terrible storm. He ran into a terrible storm, brothers and sisters. All right? What he did was, like many of us, that moment of truth comes, we start doing what? We start praying to God. He prayed for mercy and dedicated his life to Christianity. Because you know why? God spared his life and all them hundreds of slaves. Spared his life and all them hundreds of slaves. All right? But remember, he turned his life toward Christianity. Now, I got to say this about some of my Christian brothers. I got to say it because it's the truth. It was so-called Christians who wrote this. You keep saying this, Brother Rams. I'll say it till I ain't got a lick of breath in me. And it was Christians who wrote what? Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution. You know it. It's that 3/5 clause that turns you from a human to a subhuman, from 100% human to 60% human. After God spared his life and hundreds of slaves on his ship, he spared the life of him and the slaves on his ship. When he finally got to his destination in America, he let all the slaves go. Hell of a thing. He let all the slaves go, baby, because God put wisdom in his head. Said, you can't treat your brother and sister like that and call yourself a Christian. You can't. So he let them go because they're human like me. John Newton, our brother. You hear me? All right? He was ordained as a in the church England in the Church of England as a priest in 1764. He was ordained as a priest in 1764 in the Church of England. He was a Church of England priest in 1764. He authored, here's the key piece, he authored Amazing Grace for New Year's Day service in 1773. He authored Amazing Grace. You know the damn words. You sing them all the time at all the funerals. Our Caucasian brother authored that. John Newton. That's black history. He was a Caucasian, but he was an abolitionist. He freed hundreds of slaves that he could have took and sold them, and he freed them because he knew it was wrong. Now here it is. He used to didn't care about he saw a black man is like a barrel of wheat, a bag of wheat, a barrel of rum. He was an article. He was property. But through God's tremendous and immense power, changed his mind. All right? So he relocated to London in 1779. And he pastored at St. Mary's of the Woolhope. He pastored at St. Mary's of the Woolhope. Oh, excuse me, of the Woolnoth. I'm sorry, excuse my notes. He pastored at the St. Mary's Woolnoth. He then turned into an abolitionist. I'm going to talk about them a little later and his legacy. He mentored a parliament member, parliament in England. He mentored one of them, and his name was William Wilberforce. You know, there's a school here in America called Wilberforce, named after Wilberforce. William Wilberforce. Okay, it was named after him. He mentored him, and he urged Wilberforce to lead, get this, to lead the political fight, against the slave trade. Now here it is, he used to trade hundreds of black peoples. But God changed his mind. Ain't God powerful? That's why, my brothers and sisters, when you think there's no hope, there's a true and living God. Because remember, he surely knows what you know not. So what seems like he'll never change, God said, oh, yes, he can, because I have the power of change. And he changed our brother John Newton. And it inspired him to make that song, Amazing Grace. He published in an intellectual and influential pamphlet. He wrote this very powerful information in this pamphlet, and it was called Thoughts Upon the African Slave Trade, and he wrote it in 1788. In 1788, our brother John Newton, our brother John Newton. You say, brother, yeah, he's a brother, because he believed in freedom, justice, and equality for the black man. He said it's wrong. How could you be a Christian and enslave your brother? That's the question I got him. And guess who's one of the main ones who was doing it? You heard them right-wing evangelicals. They was part of that. Yes, they was. They'd go to service and hoot and holler and then come out and hang us. As it said in this book I read in college, it was a circus and carnival-like atmosphere. Hanging black people for foolishness. So them right-wing evangelicals, they've had a significant part in the demeaning of the original people. And that comes from this basic fact that they get confused in the Bible. I'm going to lay it to you, damn it. I know where they made their mistake. These two words that they got twisted in the Bible. These two terms, brothers and sisters, is called servant and master. They got those words distorted. Servant, in terms of God, means those who are in service to God's will and God's work. Servant is one who serves. Participant is one who participates. So the word servant isn't meant as no damn slave. Be a slave to the true and righteous God. And master, they weren't talking about no Caucasian. Who is the master? The one who controls everything. That's the Almighty God. That's where you right-wing evangelicals and all them other religious groups who use those two words to enslave and rationalize the enslavement of the original people. I know what I'm talking about. I'm giving you the history. He went through an extraordinary spiritual change, showing to all of us that we must change and that time moves forward. He found he no longer saw black people as property, but rather as humans, and created humans created by the Almighty God, who had spent his life and who has spared, has spared his and the slaves' lives. So God has the power to change, as I said, to change your heart, and therefore allow you to move forward and to grow. He can change your heart and allow you to move forward so you can grow, because that's what God's wish for you is, to grow. All right? A modern example of this, and a lot of people don't like her and judge her from her past, but I've seen God's work, so I have to disagree with them. Another example is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, a lot of people don't like her because what she has said, you know. There's still those who dislike her. All right? They dislike her because of her racist and anti-Semitic remarks that she made, as well as being a staunch supporter of Trump. But the true and living God opened her eyes to the evil and corruption of the president, especially how he has refused to release all of the Epstein files. He's now got distracted mysteriously. He's gotten distracted and has consequently disparaged the survivors of this brutal injustice. God's power has turned MTG, just like he has the power and he changed John Newman. Just like he changed John Newman. He changed Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I can't say, oh no, he's still the same. He's still the same race. God has the power to change him. Why? Because he surely knows what you know not. And that's important to understand, brothers and sisters. That's very, very important to understand. And that's why we take our hat off and we praise God because he has the power to do that. So don't forget, brothers and sisters. Right? Don't forget. I got to talk about a little black history too. That's a part of black history because we associate Amazing Grace with someone black writing it. We see black people singing it. We had Obama even sing a few bars. That president was one of the most popular presidents in the world. I'm telling you, he's still popular this very day. Trump only envies him. Trump only envies him. And by the way, I got to put this in here right at this point. He's trying to do a Iran nuclear deal like Obama. He can't. And old Marco Fulio, I call him Marco Fulio. Poor Marco. He used to be a decent egg. My girl, Anna Navarro, loved that Latin sister. And to her, real quick, I got to say it. Anna Navarro, you keep fighting them. You keep fighting. You keep fighting them because that's important. That's very important, brothers and sisters. Very important. Anna Navarro, keep fighting. But again, like I said, got to do a little black history. Because John Newton, he's the one who made and authored Amazing Grace. So more black history. I got a name for you. His name is Oscar Michaud. Listen to the name. Listen to his first name. I'm going to bring it home to you, brothers and sisters. His name is Oscar Micheaux. He was born in 1884. Black man. He died in 1951. He's the pioneering author and the first major African American featured filmmaker. He was the first major African American filmmaker. He independently wrote, directed, and produced over 44 films that featured all black casts. Oh, shoot. All black cast, Brother Rams? Oh, yeah, brother. That's Oscar Micheaux. Remember the name? Oscar Micheaux. Okay? All black cast. He portrayed African Americans as doctors, lawyers, and businessmen. And guess what? Remember I said look at the name? What's the name? His name is Oscar Micheaux. The real word is the Oscars are named after him. They got some other theories. They don't hold up because of the timing. Look at the timing. He was making films at the turn of the century, little over the turn of the century. He started making films. Oscar Micheaux. Now, here's some of the other people who might dispute it, but I'm telling you, the Oscars get their name from this brother named Oscar Micheaux. Okay? One was from a librarian from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Okay, her name was Margaret Henrick. And she said that she looked at the statue and it looked like her Uncle Oscar. Okay, all right, that's one theory. The second one was from a journalist, Hollywood. It was a Hollywood columnist. His name was Sidney Skolsky. He wrote. He wrote in a. He wrote in a column in March of 1934 that it looked like, instead of it being a bland picture, it looked like Oscar, someone he knew. That was 1934. But by then, my brother was making plenty of movies. Time period. Look at it. And then the actress Betty Davis called it Oscars, get this, because her husband, her first husband, also looked like it. And that was again in the 1930s. But Oscar Micheaux was making movies in the 20s. He was making movies in the 20s. So who's the real Oscar named after, brothers and sisters? And that's what we got to understand. So Oscar Micheaux, another brother, W.A. Martin. He was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he revolutionized the door lock. Now, most you go in a house, you do what? You lock the door, okay? And if you notice, it has cylinders and all that, but in 1889, he patented the door lock. But this door lock was different than normal door. Most door locks were just a bolt. You just take and slide it across, and that was it. You didn't need no key. He revolutionized the lock, right? Because what he did was he designed, and it featured a cylinder and a spiral spring coiled around a metal pin. Okay, so that created the need for a key because it has to go in and turn the springs and the cylinder, and it turns the little teeth. There's little teeth involved like this. They interconnect like this and they turn, and that brings the lock open or close. The brother name is W.A. Martin. The lock. He revolutionized the lock. I got another one for you. Black history. This is something everybody have in their house. Should. They better have it. And that's our brother Thomas Marshall. Brother Ram, who's Thomas Marshall? Thomas Marshall invented the fire extinguisher. What? A black man? Yeah. Yes, he did. Look him up, Thomas Marshall. He patented it in 1872. March 26. Thomas Marshall. Mm-hmm. Another heavy brother. So now we got W. Uh, we got W.A. Martin. We got W.A. Martin. We got Thomas Marshall. And now I'm going to give you one more. Because this is something that everybody has seen, heard, and then you don't even know a black man made it and designed it. Know what his name is? Robert Fleming Jr. Brother Ram, who was he? Robert Fleming Jr. Guess what? He patented a guitar design in 1886. He patented a guitar. Robert Fleming Jr. See, we're powerful peoples, baby. Fire extinguisher, guitar, lock. These are everyday items people use and ain't no thing, brother. Ain't no thing. But they use it every day. They use it every day. So that's my Black History piece for right now. But we're getting ready to turn it over a little bit, take a little pivot here, and we're going to talk about the main topic, and that is that's Trump's chaos continues, part 2. The Trump chaos continues, part 2. All right? Remember how Donald Trump talked about DEI, low intelligence, not being qualified? So now he turned DEI into a sentence meaning a noun, meaning not qualified. Oh, and they got and them old slick devils that saying like when they I remember this one congressman. He said when they talked about I think it was Kamala Harris, and he said she was a DEI hire. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I told you God is the author of that, so He ain't gonna let it die, because you see diversity, equity, and inclusion in everything you do. All you gotta do is go into the forest, and you'll see diversity, equity, and inclusion. Just go in there and you'll see it. Walk outside, you'll see it. But if you need 100% proof, go inside the woods and you'll see diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay? Very important to understand. Let's look at his chaos. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. He's saying people aren't qualified. In my administration, they're going to be qualified. We're going on merit. No, he didn't. He went by who's willing to kiss my behind. If you can kiss my behind, that's the prerequisite. You don't have to be able to do the job, but if you can kiss my behind, you're good. You're good. Let's take a look at the chaos he's created, even in his own cabinet. People he picked. Pam Bondi, AG, gone. And the sad part about her, she kissed his butt left and right, and he still got rid of her. Probably because she's a woman. Because all these cabinet people were gone, they just so happen to be women. Who does Donald Trump have a problem with? Women. Well, why you say that, Brother Rams? Just look at the Epstein files. They were abused by men like him. Millionaires who thought they were billionaires who were above the law. And that's why he don't want none of that released. Pam Bondi, AG, gone. Christy Nome, Secretary of Homeland Security, gone. Lori Chavez Darima, Secretary of Labor, resigned in scandal. Chaos. And then finally, this is the one going to really get you about him and his DI and his foolishness. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence. You ready for this, brothers and sisters? This is crazy here. You talking about not qualified. This personifies unqualified. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds almost like a little rhyme or something. This guy personifies unqualified. Just got to add a little humor in there because you got to keep the laugh. You laugh to keep from crying with this foolishness from a so-called president of the United States. But the real story is he was unqualified too. He wasn't qualified to be the president for the second term. He wasn't. He wasn't. But they got him in. Now you see what has happened. So Tulsi Gabbard, she had to resign because of her husband's illness, but the pressure got to her. She was left out of a lot of important meetings, considering she's director of national intelligence. But guess who they're replacing him with? They might as well replace the director of national intelligence with Boo Boo the Fool. Boo Boo the Fool could do the same thing as this man gonna do. His name is William Bill, they call him Bill, Pulte, Pulte. All right? He's the acting director of DNI. His only job he had was Federal Housing Finance Agency. He's the knucklehead that went after Letitia James in that mortgage scandal thing. So he's a puppet. He's just another puppet. Get this. He has absolutely no experience in intelligence. You hear me? He has absolutely no experience on intelligence. None. He has absolutely no experience. This is our now acting director of national intelligence. And he's going to be in there for 200 something days. He's a threat to America. All he's going to do is what Trump tell him to do. He's a sycophant, a flunky, a lackey, kissing up to Donald Trump, doing whatever he wants to. That's why he picked him. He picked him because he know he can't argue with Donald. He'll do whatever Donald tells him to do, like he told him to go after Letitia James, and he did. Disturbing. All right? Remember now, Pam Bondi, unqualified. Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, unqualified. Her replacement is even more unqualified. Oh yeah, and by the way, for that position, as one of the requirements for that position, you had to have extensive background on intelligence. She'll be dealing with CIA. He'll be dealing with CIA. He'll be dealing with the FBI, getting important information. Even though they're still part of also the Justice Department, they still feed through him. Christy Nome, Lori Chavez Darima, Secretary of Labor. And I'm going to give you some more who are unqualified, but he talking DEI. It's a clown show, baby. It's chaos. You don't see all this chaos? Produced by Donald Trump. Live and in living color. RFK Jr. If that boy if he ain't sad, God help me. He's the head of HHS. He has no experience with medical research. None. No, he got people in there who have slanted ideas toward vaccinations and childhood health care. They have slanted views. Mm. Again, DEI. Again, what was the requirement? Wasn't to be a doctor. That's another one who will kiss Trump's behind and take orders. That's all Trump wants. You to kiss his behind and take orders. And this is what he does. Another one. Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth. Oh, before I do Pete Hegseth, I got to go back to another DEI hire that Trump done. Because remember, DEI for Trump means kiss my butt and do what I tell you to do. You ain't got to have no qualifications. As long as you do what I say, because I'm going to be the one giving you the orders. As long as you do as I say, you good. Donald Trump fires C.Q. Brown. Now, who's C.Q. Brown? He was a 4-star general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Black man. 4-star general. And he was replaced, get this, with 3-star general Dan Raisin Kane, a white man. Because he ain't going to tell Trump no. He just going to tell him whatever Trump want to hear. CQ wouldn't do that, and he know that. That's why he got rid of him. Plus, he's a black man. And I'm going to talk about Hegseth and black people and promotions in a little bit. And now I'm turning to that right now. Pete Hegseth, the, what do you call him? Secretary of War. Crazy. Crazy as a bed bug. But this is what Pete Hegseth has done. And this is the war they're raging against black people here in America. Okay? Pete Hegseth has blocked the military's uh, uh, applied promotion system from promoting high performing women and black officers to 1-star generals and admirals. He's blocking it. He's blocking promotions of black, highly qualified, high profile black men and women, as well as women, from the position of 1-star general, 1-star admiral. He's blocking it. Even though the military is the best example of DEI, where merit means something. He's turning it into a racial thing, a racial and gender thing. Pete Hegseth. He's blocking it, brothers and sisters. And that don't make sense. That don't make sense at all, brothers and sisters. It's messed up. It's messed up. So he's blocking that. He has no exit strategy in Iran. What's the exit strategy? Do you know Iran's position now is stronger than when this first started? Guess what has happened? First and foremost, yeah, you obliterated their army and the navy and all that, but they weren't going to fight you like that. When are these nitwits going to understand these small countries don't fight like that? Do you remember this place called Vietnam? Do you remember Afghanistan? Do you remember Iraq? They don't fight you with tanks and a whole bunch of airplanes and warships. They don't fight you like that. They do one thing that everybody learned from Vietnam: bring them knuckleheads to send their troops on the ground. Have their leaders send their troops on the ground, and we're gonna even things up. And that's what we must understand: to even these things up, brothers and sisters. And that's the sad part, because that's what's going to happen. If you put them boots on the ground, problems. But Pete Hegseth, he's blocking black men's, women's from attaining uh, one-star general, one-star admiral status, even though they're highly qualified. Because in the military, it's qualifications, not your skin color, your gender. It's none of that. But he wants to break that up because this administration is based on divisiveness. Divisiveness. You can't do that, man. It's based on divisiveness. We're not going to do that, baby, brothers and sisters. That's not the way. It's not the way. You know? So, again, I'm going to pivot just a little bit because they understand that the midterm elections are very important. And that's why Donald Trump's trying to do everything he can to rig those elections by doing gerrymandering, redistricting, all of the above. But where did he get the cooperation from the most? He got that cooperation from the most. He got it in the southern states. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why he got it in the southern states. But I'm going to explain this to you. In the southern states, they want to obliterate black voting power. But that goes back. So let's look at some facts about the South and its residents. Okay? Not all, it can't be all, but some to majority are descendants of former slave owners. Many are descendants of the KKK and other white supremacist groups. See, their perception of black people as not being human, but rather as being property. See, because at one time we owned you. So it's difficult for me to understand you having the same rights as me. And again, this is supported by the Constitution. Again, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, the 3/5 Amendment, the 3/5 Amendment, the 3/5, clause. That supports that. So the education of the Negro has always been a point of contention in the South. And as a result, this has also stifled the education of white children as well. What? I have a podcast up here, the effects of racism on white children. Listen to it, because it does. Because what it does to white children, it leaves them believing, leaving with a distorted point of view of the country and the world, that white people dominate. And that's not the truth. It's a distorted view of the world. So it doesn't give them a proper education too. And remember, I told you a proper education is that it provides a student knowledge of self. So especially in the South, Black history is being taught to both black and white children. Black history being taught to both black and white children is banned. They don't teach black history in the South. You better not. Only thing you can get away with is teaching about someone like Jackie Robinson or Martin Luther King. They are approved Negroes to read about. But what they've done is now they started banning the books from the library. But where did all this come from? It comes from our good friend, white nationalist Ron DeSantis of Florida. I'm going to refresh my brothers and sisters' memory. Remember when he said the AP African American Studies have no educational value? I ain't forgot. He said this a few years ago, but that started a movement with the CRT. And I told you back then, CRT isn't taught to first, second year law school. It's not taught in the schools. And it ain't about nothing other than uh, what they say in the law school about critical race theory. It has nothing to do with making little Jimmy and Billy and Mary feel bad in school. But they turned that into that. Okay? He said it has no educational value, which started a wave of Southern Republican governors to start taking black culture, black books, black authors, taking black authors out, taking them out of school libraries. Started taking them out. These books usually, get this, were about the pain and struggle black people have endured in this country, especially at the hands of our white brothers and sisters. The southern states have adopted a policy to try to not teach about slavery. So that won't make little Billy and Jimmy and Mary feel bad. So they won't teach about slavery. They'll gloss over it. You can, it's history. But they have failed to realize that the effect on black children not being able to see or hear about their experience in America has a negative effect on black children. They don't see themselves included. So that starts to breed, as I've said before, a sense of inferiority. Since you're always talking about the whites and their accomplishment, that breeds a sense of superiority by not exposing black children and white children to black accomplishments and black authors. And these black children feel a sense of inferiority. And that's the negative side of that. Not being able to see people of color in there like themselves. Yes, slavery was a brutal, inhumane system perpetrated by our own Caucasian brothers. But in this country, we have plenty of highly educated teachers and professors who specialize in child psychology. Don't tell me we can't teach black history, including slavery. We have a plethora of black teachers, not just black teachers and professors who specialize in child psychology. As we have other experts who specialize in curriculum and instruction. So what are your suggestions, Brother Rams? You put them both together. You put them both together. Okay? You put them both together, brothers and sisters. So you take the ones who deal with child psychology so they can deal with age appropriate material, and you got the professors of curriculum instruction to formulate an educational program to be able to talk about slavery, but without harming little Jimmy and Bobby and Mary. It can be done. They just refuse to do it. Okay? And what they'll do is they'll make it age appropriate for each grade level. This is about how slavery should be taught in the first grade, how it should be taught in the fifth grade, how it should be taught in the 11th grade. You see the collaboration? Child psychologists, curriculum instruction people coming together to formulate a curriculum, a course that teaches about slavery without harming Jimmy, little Mary, Saquon, Rashid, Pookie, without harming them. But see, in the South, here's the problem. In the South, slavery is downplayed. It is. It's downplayed because it shows white inhumanity to black and brown brothers and sisters. It shows white inhumanity. But what needs to be done, brothers and sisters, to offset this inhumane treatment when teaching slavery, the course should include Caucasian people who helped black people during these times. In other words, the abolitionists. But see, there's a problem in the South with the abolitionists. There's a problem. You know why? Because the white people in the South considered the abolitionists race traitors. So they looked upon as villains, as opposed to American patriots that were against the enslavement of another human being. That they were white people. They were white people, brothers and sisters. I'm going to give you some of the names. William Lloyd Garrison. Here's my favorite, John Brown. See, I used to say, if you ain't a John Brown liberal, I don't want to hear what you got to say. In other words, you willing to take up a gun to fight for the freedom, justice, and equality for a black man? That's the type of liberal I like. John Brown. But see, he's considered a villain in the South because they caught him and hung him after his raid on Harper's Ferry. But he wasn't a villain. He was an American hero. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Angelina Grimke. Lucretia Mott. Benjamin Lay. They could be taught to the white kids in the South. But again, what's the issue? The issue is this. They're considered in the South, they're considered race traitors. They're frowned upon. So we're not going to teach our kids about the race traitors because we had enslaved the Negroes. They're not human. The Constitution said they're not human. They ain't equal to us, but you call yourself Christians. Either you are or you aren't. And that's what my brother John Newton said. He said, they're Christians. If we believe in Christianity, we can't enslave our brother. And that's important to understand, brothers and sisters. That's important to understand. But it's no coincidence that some of these states I'm about to mention, they have some of the poorest public education in the country. They have some of the poorest public education in the country. And the states I'm going to mention are Trump states. And that's why they were able to fool these people, because their lack of critical and analytical thinking. Because if they really thought about Trump and analyzed him, they wouldn't have never voted for him. But they didn't. And here's some of the states. Kentucky, the 17th worst public school system in the country. Not bad, 17. But then here we go. Florida, 21. Tennessee, 26. North Carolina, 31. Mississippi, 40. Missouri, 45. South Carolina, 41. Alabama, 43. Louisiana, 44. That's out of 50 states, baby. They're in the bottom when it comes to public education. Because they don't teach the children the true history of America. And part of it also is part of that slavery thing. Part of it is that slavery thing, brothers and sisters. You know, we're qualified to teach your children. You're not qualified to teach your children. I told you, my biggest pet peeve that I like, that I speak on is I'm not in favor of Caucasian people teaching our children. I'm not. Oh, that sounds kind of racist, Brother Rams. Oh, no, it ain't. No, it's not. It's looking out for self. Let me give you an example. Most of my Caucasian brothers and sisters, if you go to your child's school, who are they being taught by? They're not taught by a bunch of black people. Brown, red, yellow. No, they're being taught by mostly white people, and that's okay. That's okay. We want the same. We want to teach our own so we don't get no distortion. We can't have that. And who I always praise, I praise my Asian brothers and sisters because why? Because they did not allow the Caucasian to teach his children. And you see, they're a superpower now. What's your most valuable asset? Your children. And if you're going to let them be taught by your open enemy of over 400 years, then shame on you. And like I've given before some heavy educators, I'll quickly rattle them off. The first great man I can think of is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The second one is the Honorable Marcus Garvey. The other one is our sister Marva Collins, God rest her soul. And my mentor and model is Jeffrey Canada. Very important. Very important. These are black educators who believe, they didn't believe what the white people were saying about the black children. No. They said, I will teach our own. And you were surprised at their results. So I say that, my brothers and sisters. That's important. All right? But now let's go turn to the meat of all this, and that's the Trump chaos. Chaos, brothers and sisters, that's what we got with Mr. Trump. First of all, he started a war with Iran. And none of his policy objectives have been achieved. The regime is still in place. The regime is still in place, stronger than ever, really, because now who's in charge? He's taking a hard line. They still have drone and rocket and missile capabilities. Remember, they supposed to have been obliterated. They still firing. That objective not done. And then there's no end in sight. Oh, there's gonna be a deal. No, it ain't. They're playing you like a cheap fiddle. Like I said, little Marco Fulio, he up there saying, we gonna get a deal better than Obama. No, you're not. You know why you're not? Because they trusted Obama. Part of the reason why they trusted him, because he was a black man. Now you can take that or let it alone, but they trusted him because he was a black man, and he approached them with respect. He approached the Iranians with respect. He approached them about getting an Iran deal done. So they respected the black man because they understand who he is. The original people. You think they respect Trump? The lying, conniving, I'm going to obliterate you all. I'm going to kill all of you all. I'm going to send you back to where you came from and all of that. You think they respect that? They playing them like a cheap fiddle because now they also control the Strait of Hormuz. So none of his policy objectives were achieved. They're not. They still got enriched uranium. And they stepped it up after he tore up that agreement in 2018. As soon as he tore up that agreement, they started enriching their uranium again. Obama had that even checked. Because of his hatred for the black man, Obama, he think he gonna come up with a better deal. Oh, you're wrong about that one, Mr. Trump. They're gonna play you. They're gonna drag this into the midterms. Right? And there's still no agreement on banning developing nuclear weapons. There's no agreement with that. This is part of his chaos, starting war, costing Americans billions of dollars. Remember the war between Russia and Ukraine? It's still raging. Chaos over there. Inflation rising to its highest rate in 4 years. Inflation. One of the causes of inflation is going to war. That's why you all was mad at old Sleepy Joe. but he got involved in two wars, and that eats your economy up. Gas prices at the highest level. I mean, excuse me. First, inflation rising to its highest in 4 years. Gas prices at the highest in the last 3 years. There's no full release of the Epstein file. He done totally swept him under the rug. He has totally swept him under the rug. He got 4 cabinet members that have been replaced. And as I said, one cabinet member who replaced Tulsi Gabbard, Bill Pulte, has no experience with intelligence, despite the fact a person in this position has to have extensive experience with intelligence. He doesn't have any, but he's a puppet, and that's all that matters in the DEI Trump world. All this is confusing. When you constantly changing over your personnel, ask any business person. When you change over personnel, you create confusion. And that's important, brothers and sisters. Let's look at the DOJ. It's a total mess. The acting secretary of the DOJ, Todd Blanche, get this. He drafts a settlement of $1.776 billion allocated for thieves and convicted criminals who believe they've been done wrong. They were tried and convicted. And they thought they were done wrong. So now we're going to open up some money for them. To you all, how about the officers who defended the Capitol that day? Did you offer anything to Officer Hodges? Did you offer anything to Harry Dunn? Did you offer anything to my man, uh, Michael Fanone? You didn't offer nothing to them. Are they eligible? As Trump's ex-defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, where does his role as Trump lawyer end, and where does the head of the DOJ representing the people begin? See, it's blurred together. I'm his defense lawyer, and I'm also supposed to be the lawyer of the people. Conflict of interest. He'll never get confirmed. If he gets confirmed, you might as well go get Mr. Magoo to get confirmed. And by the way, I want to say this about the Trump lawyers. I've been talking with a couple of lawyers, and I've always believed, I'm not a lawyer, but I talk with lawyers and I got sense. As lawyers, you can't keep bringing frivolous lawsuits before the court. As one sister, the sister I saw her on The View, her name's Sunny Hostin, she's a lawyer. And she said that you can get your license taken away bringing up frivolous lawsuits. And I say it's time to go after the Trump lawyers, because they're the ones who keep pushing me. You don't know anything about no law. You've even heard them say, I got to ask the lawyers. A lot of them should be disbarred. I'm in favor of them being disbarred, brothers and sisters, because they keep bringing up these frivolous lawsuits, flooding the court, jamming up the works of the court. And I think that should be done. And the next piece about Trump and the chaos, Trump and the chaos, that's what this is, right? It's turning Washington, D.C. into his own personal museum. All right. First, he started out by destroying the East Wing to build a $1 billion ballroom. Well, that's going to be through private donations. Now it's like, well, we're going to get the senators to tell the American people to foot the bill. That's garbage, baby. All right. Changing the reflection pool. Having a giant a photo of himself on the DOJ building. You've seen it. He's planning to build like an Arc de Triomphe, the one in France, but he's going to call it the Arc de Trump. That would basically obscure the Washington Monument and Arlington National Cemetery. chaos. Where does this funding come from? Meanwhile, the American people suffering. They're suffering, dear brothers and sisters. And we must understand that. What about the farmers? What about the tariffs? Gas prices? And remember, like he said, I don't even think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. Damn. At least he's truthful. At least he's truthful, brothers and sisters. But I'd like to say this before I sign off to the Epstein girls. Not girls, excuse me. I don't mean to sound disparaging. Epstein survivors and women's. Keep fighting. Don't you dare, because this is just a distraction to get away from it. This is a part of the chaos. If I keep creating chaos, no one will be able to pin me down. I saw recently today on an interview he did with a woman. He got up and walked out because she checked him on some lying, and then he got mad. Unstable mentally. And this turning DC into his personal museum, again, there are two experts. If you doubt me, look them up. The first one, like I said, is Dr. John Gartner, and the second one is Dr. Lance Dotis, and they both label him a malignant narcissist about the mental capability of Donald Trump. So as my brothers and sisters, think about that. And then one more before I leave, and that is my Native American brothers. We still need you to come out and express to you about this immigration. I haven't given up on it. I'm still here talking about it. I want to see you on these TV shows, giving the American people a true story about what immigration really means in America. Because they don't have a true idea. Because as I said, and I'll say this to the end, every Caucasian person in this audience and in this country is a descendant of an immigrant. And that's a fact, whether you can take it or let it alone. You're not natural to this land. So again, brothers and sisters, thank you so very much for listening to your brother Rams. And keep safe. Pray, because the true and living God is here. And pass this word along to other listeners who want to be well informed of what's happening. So again, God bless you all and keep you safe. Amen.